I'm Jen Spitler, Executive Director of Big Brothers Big Sisters of Washtenaw County. And I thank you all for being here this morning, although I'm disappointed that I can't see all of your smiling faces. You can see mine. And I do ask for some grace, as this is the first time that we've held an event virtually. So despite every test run and every attempt to do this correctly, that happened. I'd like to start this morning with some thank yous. First to Comerica Bank, our longtime sponsor of Rise and Shine for Kids' Sake. Chris, you and your team have been amazingly generous and really are the best to work with. So thank you. And thank you. I'm getting a text message that says that you can hear me. So that's fantastic. I'd also like to thank our table captains who have invited so many of you to join us this morning to learn more about Big Brothers Big Sisters and our work. We couldn't do this without your championing our cause and being on our ambassadors in the community. So thank you. And to our Investing in Children Circle members, your annual commitment really has sustained us over the last several years, and we thank you all. Now, I'm a facts and figures person who loves spreadsheets and formulas. As a social worker, that's a little uncommon, but that's me. So here are the facts. There are approximately 46,000 school-age youth in Washtenaw County, and over 14,000 are defined as economically disadvantaged. And in our program, 87% of our littles' household incomes fall below or near the poverty line, which in 2021 was $21,960 for a parent with 2 children. Now sit with that for just a minute. Imagine raising 2 kids on $22,000 a year. We live in a community that is rich in art and culture, full of educational opportunities, and has amazing things to do. But without cash, cars, and comfort, those things are not accessible. And these inequities can lead to what we find is 20% lower graduation rates, a math and reading proficiency rate gap between 30 and 40%, and a chronic absenteeism rate nearly 20% higher for those youth than their non-economically disadvantaged classmates. In addition, our kids have increased ACEs, which are adverse childhood experiences. 39% have a family member who struggles with mental health. 27% have someone close to them involved in the justice system, and 20% have a family member struggling with alcohol or drug use. I believe that every child has inherent gifts, but I also understand that the structural and environmental factors around them create barriers that make it really difficult for those gifts to shine sometimes. But we know that developmental relationships with a safe, consistent, and caring adult help build resiliency. It helps heal trauma, and it provides the opportunities and experiences that allow for social, emotional, and skill development. As an evidence-based program, we see this every day. And I am so privileged that I've seen this year after year for nearly 20 years. Young people thrive when supported. Our youth show improvement in areas of risk, not only participating in less negative risky behaviors, but also in taking more positive risks because of the sense of confidence that comes from belonging and being seen and heard and having a support network. Think about it. Kids join gangs for a sense of belonging and for someone to quote unquote have your back. If we gave that to every young person by providing them with a mentor, they'd take the risk of trying out for the team or the play, trying new foods, new experiences, things that expand their mind and their skills and their knowledge. Our youth also show improvement in school performance, educational expectations, and school connectedness. And I'm guessing you can connect those dots that leads to higher graduation rates. What does graduating from high school mean? Well, you might then go on to college or have the skills to develop a career in the trades. And high school graduates earn 38% more than those that do not graduate. One thing I'm really excited about right now is our work with Big Brothers Big Sisters of Metro Detroit to create a therapeutic mentoring model. As we know that too many young people are experiencing depression, anxiety, and suicide ideation at rates we've not seen before. And families are ending up in the emergency room because of a lack of understanding of the problem or access to the care that they need. In creating this program, we have talked to and heard from several of our young adults about the importance of trust and respect, consistency, safe places and safe people, and their desire to be heard. And this made me think of the first time that I heard the quote, "Kids don't care what you think until they think that you care." And that's what we do at Big Brothers Big Sisters, is help create that care. Mentoring matters, maybe more today than ever. And we're committed to working toward every young person graduating high school with a plan for their future and the lifelong impact of mentoring relationships. Now, I know I've set the stage with the harsh reality of the challenges that too many kids in our communities face, but we want to lift you up with another reality. And you're about to hear from some folks in the community, some well-known and some you'll meet for the first time, but all who have a story to tell about their mentoring experience. I'd like to welcome and introduce you to Fred Jackson. Fred retired in 2014 after a long career of coaching on the college level, last and longest for the University of Michigan. That didn't last long for Fred, because in 2015, he became the head football coach at Ypsilanti Community High. And his commitment to the development of his players and students is evident in how he built up the necessary resources for the program, not only getting equipment, upgrading facilities, but creating a tutoring program for those students to ensure that they remained eligible to play. He is currently a climate and culture coach at Ypsilanti High School and has been a part of creating the Student Development Program, a collection of people and organizations who are dedicated to helping the students of Ypsilanti Community High School realize their dreams by attempting to remove complications and barriers that they individually experience as extremely unfair challenges and competitive disadvantages in their growth and success. Very similar mission to what we do at Big Brothers Big Sisters. Thank you so much for being here, Fred, and I turn it over to you.
First of all, thank you, Jennifer. I really appreciate this opportunity to be able to sit and talk with you and just listen to some of the things this Big Brother's doing, because it means so much to me, obviously, and what I'm doing. But you couldn't have picked a better person for this occasion. I mean, I know how much it means to, I know how much it means to Mike. You really, you think about my relationship with him. Mike was a high school football player that rushed for over 200 touchdowns in one season. I don't know if you can wrap your mind around that or not, but when a young man rushed for that many touchdowns, you want to go out and see who that person is. And you think about a team don't score 50 touchdowns a year, unless it's on one guy. So he rushed for more than 200 touchdowns a year. So I wanted to go see him, Jennifer. So I decided to go out and see him and met with his family, met with his brother's mother, and spend time. And then it came a time to bring Lord Carr out. The head football coach just won a national championship, very exciting guy to bring out. So we take Mike and his family out. We spent a little time with them. We had a restaurant, and everybody see Lord Carr, everybody see Mike Carr. Nobody wants to interview or talk to anybody but Mike Carr. They walk right by Lord Carr and wanted to interview and get autographs from Mike Hart. Just think about that now. He's got just won a title, but they wanted this young man. And it was because of the fact the impact Mike left in that community. You think about some of the things that he did. When he came to Michigan, this is when it really, really touched me. Most freshmen, when they come to college, they have a tendency to just want to get into the realm of things and have a good time and get their academics together. But this young man, when he came to Michigan, after being there a short period of time, he decides to bring his brother. Just imagine this, a freshman coming to college decides to bring his brother, his little brother, to live with him. Now, if that don't tell you about the type of person that is, just go back to your college years and say, okay, when I went to college, was I ready to bring my brother or my sister with me to college? But that's what Mike did. That is outstanding to me. And then on top of that, in his freshman year, he's freshman of the year in the Big Ten. He's an outstanding football player. So when you think about those things, also you think about his guy's big brother with him. I mean, his little brother with him. It means so much. And on top of all those things, he had this great year. And after that, you see how smart a football player he is. And he starts to play in games in which, I don't know if you understand this, some of your listeners will understand it. But here's a young man who rushed for over 200 yards in back-to-back football games. That's a lot of yards. And so you think about, here's a young man who brought his brother to live with him as a freshman, have a great freshman year. Now he's starting to rush for over 200 yards in every football game. And then as you go and you think about how many times he's carrying the ball. He carried the football 305 times without fumbling the ball. 305 times, and the ball didn't go to the opponent. You think about all these things. I'm talking about specialties. Now I'm talking about a young man who came there, brought his little brother with him. One, had a great freshman year with his little brother. Kept going. Now he having these 200-yard games. Now all of a sudden, you look at somebody who carried the ball that many times without fumbling the ball. And then on top of that, when he left Michigan, now let this grab you a little bit because this is big. He left Michigan as an all-time leading rusher in Michigan football history. In the storied history of Michigan football, your speaker left as the all-time leading rusher in Michigan football history. Go back and backtrack again. What he did, what some of the things that he ran up against and what he had to do with his brother living with him as he's going to college. And a lot of people couldn't do that in the first place. But that's the speaker you have here today. You have a speaker who believes in young people. Even when he was a freshman, sophomore himself, he was so smart of a football player that he took a lot of the young players and taught them. He was teaching guys who was trying to take his position, but he knew obviously he was better than they were, so he didn't worry about it. But anyway, he went on after having a great storied career, and he went to the Indianapolis Colts where there was a guy named Tony Dungy who sent me a football and sent me a note. And within that note, and I still have it, telling me that Mike Hart was probably the smartest freshman of our first-year running back that he had ever been around. That by a great football coach. For me saying that to you, getting it from Tony, I want you to know the person I'm getting ready to introduce to you is a tremendous, not just football player, but a tremendous person for the things that he done from the time he was small and from the times I've known him. And I've been knowing him most of his life. Well, with great pleasure, I would like to introduce to you #1 rusher in Michigan football history, Mike Hart.
It, Freddie. Appreciate it. That was a lot. Nice words, kind words. Thanks for having me on, Jen, as well. So I won't take too much of your guys' time. Really just want to, appreciate you guys for letting me do this, letting me speak. Obviously, it's a little weird on Zoom because I haven't met any of you guys in person, really. So that's the weirder part, but it's all right. What I want to do is just kind of really explain kind of a little bit of my background and why I'm passionate about this with the Big Brother Sister, Big Sister program, with any mentoring type programs. I'm from Syracuse, New York, like he said. I grew up about 10 minutes from the university, but I had a single parent mom with 5 kids. So you were just talking about some of your notes, 21,000 for 2 kids, right? We had 5 kids, single parent mom. So 1 older sister, and then me and my brothers are all 2 years apart. And I had a younger sister too as well. She passed away though when I was about 9, 10. But again, mom working all the time, right? No male influences in the house, right? Dad's nowhere to be found. In and out of school, sister. I mean, mom's trying to do everything by herself. It's hard now to be a single parent mom and trying to do everything right, but obviously she can't handle everything. And right when I was around the age of 10, I want to say, I got a mentor, and it was my teammate's dad. He'd take me with them every weekend from Friday to Sunday. So you're talking about I had chaos at my house, kids running around, not knowing anything was going on. And then from Friday to Sunday every weekend, I got brought out into a suburban house, right? Had a bedroom there. They sat down at a table and ate dinner together, which you don't even think about those things. Like we didn't do that in my house, right? That's how school went. They'd bring me to different things like race car events and stuff like that. Take us to the movies. And there's those things that I didn't leave the house. You know what I mean? I didn't leave my area. We didn't have money to do that kind of stuff. And so, but the biggest like impact it had on my life was I got to see how a marriage is supposed to look, right? With a mother and a dad and a son and a dog. They had a big house. I always lived in an apartment. Like those are the things that I would have never been privy to if they hadn't taken me under their wings for 3 days, you know, for 4 or 5 years of my life. Yeah, Nick's with Charles, never forget him. And so, you know, I look now and I look back at like, why did I have success? What was different from me and my brothers and all those, my sister, you know, my sister had 2 kids by the time she was 18, didn't graduate high school. The younger brothers got GED, youngest one got his GED, right? They didn't graduate. And I look back at my life and it was those 4 to 5 years of, okay, this is what I want to have my house to look like. This is what I want my family to be like. Like I'm married now, I got kids, we sit at the table, we eat, right? My kids do good in school. But it's all because of that mentor. And obviously the other mentors in my life as far as my football coaches, but like that's the one point in my life. I remember when I was 10 years old to 14, I just got there every weekend. And so what you guys do is huge. You know, the impact that you have on these kids' lives is huge. Because I look at that one point in my life and I'm like, that was a difference. You know, like the consistency of knowing I had somewhere to go every weekend. I trusted them every weekend to come pick me up and go to their house. It was all those things that it made me want to give back. And it also put me in a position where, okay, I can show my brothers the right things to do now. I can show my youngest brother the right things to do now, which is why he moved in with me, because he was gonna get in trouble if he didn't. And so I think that this program is huge. And I tell people that I think it had a direct impact on my life. It made me become who I am today. That's why I coach. That's why I want to give back. I love working with 18 to 22-year-olds. We do community events with my foundation still, you know, going around doing things. So, but it all started from that one mentor taking me at 10 years old and showing me it's a different way of life out there, that there's families that sit at a table, that cook dinner, that watch movies together. And I look at like that was the biggest thing in my life that allowed me to get to where I am, having a mentor from that. But again, I think that when you talk about it's our responsibility to mentor these young children because they are the future. They're going to be in charge in 10 years, in 12 years, they're going to be running things. And the more help and support you can put around them, the more people that they can, like people that look like them, even if they don't look like them, but are having success, doing things a different way, showing them that you care, that you love them, right? Then they start believing in themselves. And then they turn into me down the line, right? Like that's my goal with all these kids. All these kids I coach, I'm like, you don't have to be me, but that's what I want you to be like. You know, I want you to be a dad. I want you to take care of your kids. I want you to be a good husband. And again, I think that that's why this program is so great, because I think you guys impact so many kids' lives. And I always tell people, like, don't ever underestimate how important you are to these kids. Whether you're white, Black, Asian, doesn't matter. They need someone to look up to, and they want someone to look up to, because you never know how their day-to-day basis is going inside their house. Most of the time it's craziness. So just that 5-minute walk, that 10-minute walk, asking if they did their homework, checking on them, calling them, those are the things that really change people's lives. And so appreciate everybody that is involved with this program, everyone that does give. And I always tell people this, money's always good to give. Time is just as important. So you don't have to have money to give. at times worth just as much money for these young kids. So I kind of want to share that with you guys. And again, just being a mentor, I think is everything. I think it's really important. And not only that, I think half the time you'll get more out of it than they get out of it when you do those type of things. So that's what I got for you guys. I gotta go head to the airport, but I appreciate you guys having me on. If you ever need anything, reach out, and I look forward to meeting you in person one day.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you so much. I know a little bit about your story, but not the details of your story. And so I really appreciate your vulnerability to share all of those pieces that brought you where you are today. And you're right. It takes all of those things, right? For young people to feel seen and heard and appreciated, and to have those opportunities and experiences. Like I said earlier, it really, it opens your eyes, right? It opens your eyes to what's out there. And it sounds like you've had some time to reflect, and really appreciate you sharing that this morning, Mike.
No problem.
So happy travels. Be safe.
Thank you.
Thank you. We appreciate you.
Bye.
Wow. I didn't know what to expect. We hadn't talked about what Mike was going to share this morning, but very much appreciated his words. And I think that he said so much about how sometimes young people are growing up in our community. One of the things that I do share with folks, and I've used this terminology for years, is that families that we work with come on the spectrum of chaos to crisis, right? Like some kids and some family, it's chaotic, right? Like any household that has kids in it, if you're raising kids, there's the chaos. We have some families who find themselves in times of crisis. And we try to support those families wherever they are and however they come to us. Next, Danny's going to share with you a video of a couple of our matches from here in Washtenaw County. We're going to hear from a mom and her daughter, as well as a big and little that have been in our program. So again, give us grace. Let's hope this works well. But I'm going to turn it over to Danny to share our video. Last year, Big Brothers Big Sisters of Washtenaw County celebrated 30 years of mentoring in our community. And this year, I celebrate 20 years with this organization. Jason and Rayanya are two former littles that graduated out of our program when they were 18. And today they're going to share a little bit about the impact that relationship has had on them and has stuck with them over the years. And I cannot tell you how these stories replicate stories that I have heard time and time again.
Rayanya and Raylanda are twins. They were matched when they were like 12, but they got a younger sister that came in the program at the age of 10. She was 9, getting ready to turn 10.
Annette originally enrolled the girls in the program because they're kind of shy, and she just really wanted them to have an outlet, someone to help, bring them out of their shell and be there with them as they were growing up.
I would say when I was younger, I was very motivated, very emotional, very antisocial.
They were very shy. All three of them are very shy. They needed somebody to talk to, and I needed somebody to help me to keep them talking. So the program has been really good for us.
Having a big in their life really, I think, encouraged them to try things and get comfortable. And then it creates the ability for us to, as adults, help and guide them more once they have that piece.
They still shy, but they still do go out and do things that they usually wouldn't do.
One of the important elements of mentoring relationships is the parent as partners. And so Mom, Annette, talks about how in the relationship between the big and the little, the bigs really encourage them
the kids to talk to mom about things when things are going on. And we know that that helps increase that relationship and the strength of that relationship, which has those longer term impacts of reduced risk behaviors as well as better academic performance.
I feel that this program has really impacted them to the degree that they have learned to talk to people about their feelings, which led to more conversations between me and them.
I also think that one of the things that is really important that was talked about was Rayanya really liked having that person outside her family.
I would say that it is important to have a mentor at a young age, someone that's not in the family, someone that you trust and can go to talk about anything that you're comfortable with. Because the pressure that family have on you can be a lot, and it's good to have someone outside of that.
Derek and Jason were matched in our program probably about 15 years ago when Derek's older brother was also a big, and he was the big brother to Jason's big brother.
So I have an older brother myself. He's a couple of years older than me. He was a student at University of Michigan, as was I. He got involved with Jen and Big Brothers Big Sisters a couple of years before me, and his little brother was Jalen. As Jalen got to know my brother, he became over our house quite a bit, and our house just happened to be 3 or 4 blocks literally from where Jason, Jalen, and their brothers lived. So
my first impression of Derek when I first met Derek was he was like the cooler brother. You know, he was the younger brother, he was the cooler one, you know. He had a red truck and it had a toolbox on the back of it, and his brother had a truck with dents on the side of it. So it was like he was a cool brother, you know. That's what it was at first.
The stories that we hear today are, just 2 examples of that long-term impact that a big can have on a little that you don't even realize is happening. They don't realize it's happening. They're 9 or 10 years old.
When we played, blackjack, it was all the math that they had us doing for chips. Like, we get extra chips if we answered certain math questions. So instead of just, having the better cards or whatever, if we answered how many chips it was more math than it was just playing blackjack. That might be bad, we were kids, I'm sorry about that, but.
But it's the conversation that they had and those nuggets that stick with kids that really creates that long-lasting impact of mentoring.
I would say out of all of my mom's children, she had a lot of children, I was probably the most troubled in terms of, I like to fight. To my brothers and everything, I was the scrappy one. So that's how I looked at myself as a child.
Jason had a different upbringing than I did. There's stuff I know now today that I did not know before my relationship with Jason. I would hope the same would be true for him, and my perspective on things has changed because of my relationship with Jason.
But Derek and the people he put himself around and the people he was around, they were all into all types of different professions, and it really made me like, I could be something else besides just playing football or playing basketball. I could actually do something different.
It's always heartwarming for kids to start to really reflect on the impact that their bigs had on them. And with Rayanya being 18, 19, and Jason being 25, you're seeing that impact after some reflection time.
Do you think your life would be different if you kind of hadn't met Derek?
Oh, definitely. My life would be way different if I hadn't met Derek, for sure. He had bad knees, he had horrible knees, ACL surgeries and all types of things like that. And I didn't really know what that was. And I saw his legs open one day and I tackled him by his legs. And like the look he gave me, it wasn't even like mad, it was more like disappointed, and it was like, dang. It was just something about letting him down, making him have those conversations with me that I didn't want to do it anymore. So it just started changing me. It just got me like, okay, I don't have to be this type of kid. I don't have to be like that. I got a personality that people actually enjoy when I'm not being the scrappy kid. So yeah, I would credit Derek a lot for that.
I think it's important for everybody to have mentors. I still have mentors. I'm now 37. Yeah, it takes me a minute to remember that now, but I have mentors in my current life. You have mentors till, I think, the day you die. Having that relationship of somebody to lean on for that advice is something everybody needs at every point in their life. And who needs it especially is our youth when they don't know what they don't know.
I am very happy that I enrolled my kids in the program. Like I said, I've had a wonderful experience with the program. We have had lots of fun hanging out with the big brothers and big sisters, from the parks to just game nights and everything. It's been awesome.
It's been, a ride I'm really happy to be part of, and really happy to see the man he's become. It's the most important thing I've gotten from Big Brother, Big Sister is a friend. So
I definitely would say we all would have been a little bit different if it hadn't been for, Ryan and Derek. We wouldn't have experienced a lot of things, good things, I mean.
Hi, it's good to see y'all again. One thing that Derek and Jason didn't share that they had shared while we were videotaping that I think is so cool about their relationship was that Derek and Ryan, his older brother, were involved in a lot of intramural sports at U of M when they were students there, and they took the boys with them. So the boys were like their unofficial coaches at these games, and introduced them to so many people, and gave them like just this wealth of social capital, folks around them that have different professions and different experiences, I think. And the other thing was that eventually when the boys started playing sports, Derek and Ryan were their coaches, and so their relationship was just with that whole family was just so amazing, and very much with Rayanya's family the same, with 3 girls. There's 3 bigs and mom, and they come to a ton of events, and it really is a Big Brothers Big Sisters family. Next, I want to introduce you to Dr. Carlos Lopez. Dr. Lopez and I met first in January of 2020. And we have had quite a 2.5-year ride since then. As we've been working through Big Brothers Big Sisters to expand our program opportunities, we really wanted to wrap our arms around the kids in Ypsi in a different way than what our community-based program allowed us to do. So started talking about how do we create a partnership with Ypsilanti Community Schools where we could support the kids from 2nd grade all the way through 12th grade. And so, the pandemic hit shortly after, but we kept meeting, we kept talking, we kept sharing ideas. What's going on with the school? How do you think that, we're going to be needed to show up when kids come back to school? And I'm really excited to share that this year we rolled out the first year of our Lunch Buddies program, which is an elementary mentoring program, obviously during lunchtime. And we are ramping up right now to add a 2nd site for Lunch Buddies next academic year, as well as roll out our Big Buddies program, which will allow high school students to mentor elementary students and have that service learning opportunity, as well as starting our Mentor You program at the high school, which is a program that's going to focus on social emotional development, but also career and college exploration for those students. So along the way, I learned in all of our conversations that Dr. Lopez had a big brother. And so I asked him here this morning to share a little bit about his experience being mentored, but also a little bit about the importance of mentoring for the students that he serves at Ypsilanti, in Ypsilanti Community Schools. And so I'm going to say this with much love, Dr. Lopez. Y'all get ready, because he's a fast talker. He has a lot of passion and an unwavering commitment to our kids. So I turn it over to you.
Thank you, Jan. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
So far, so good. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you for your generosity, your passion and commitment to this work. As you know, is dear to my heart, because that's how I have come to be. I think it's important. Who are the people that are there when you need them the most? that help you to get. I'm here because of all the supports that I have gotten from many mentors, and it started with as simple as my story starts with a big brother, right? Again, I come from a single parent home. My mom had mental illness. And so I was a refugee that came from Cuba in 1970, and we were placed in downtown Detroit, right next to Kestak High. Phenomenal place. There was a lot going on downtown Detroit, and coming from Havana, Cuba, where it was really downtown as well, was kind of fun and exciting. But not being able to speak English, et cetera. And then we were transitioned a year later into Southwest Detroit because they were starting a bilingual program. And so I'm product of Detroit Public Schools. And I really had great experiences there. The challenge was at first that I didn't speak English. And of course, I was a socially awkward kid. And so I didn't relate very well I really related better with adults than I did with other students. So I was getting in trouble a lot in fights because when some kid looked at me the wrong way, I was always ready to attack. And so I had to, coming from a single parent home, it was kind of interesting because I had two sisters, and it was kind of an interesting environment. I loved my mom and my sister, and I have the utmost respect for them. But one of the things that I found is that I didn't have a positive male, that could take me under. So one of the things that happened in my elementary school in the 5th grade, I was introduced to a big brother. And my big brother, it was the first time that I had a male actually take interest in holding conversation. The only other male that I would see was the principal, constantly from being suspended or, that kind of thing, but not in a positive light. What I saw, and you mentioned it earlier, is someone who saw me, heard me, understood me, valued me, respect me, but most of all cared about my best interest and made me the center of the conversation, which I had never had been. And it was kind of interesting because I could open up to this person like I couldn't open up to anybody else. This person had the opportunity, Mike also brought up the whole perspective. I have never left Southwest Detroit. So this person, to have this person take me to his house and for me to see his wife and son, et cetera, was really awkward because my house didn't look anything like his, right? Beyond that, it was also, he took me to the first restaurant because you ate at home, you ate at school, but people don't even take account of it at a fancy restaurant. Sometimes back in the day that was not something common. And so he took me to the first restaurant and the first ball game, things that were really different than I was used to. Do you understand? And so you learn a lot. All I can say to you, what I learned is to be resilient. I think that when you talk about igniting potential, there's something that lights up in a child's heart at that moment when somebody can bring you to that moment that carries you and gives you that resilience that you need to continue to get up no matter what obstacles get in your way. Okay. And so this, my story, I think is about perseverance. I have had a lot of great opportunities. I got a lot of support. I did graduate from high school. I graduated from Wayne. I went to Wayne State University. I graduated from Wayne with my bachelor's, then my master's, and by 28, I received my doctorate degree. I actually then became a teacher, as director, as assistant principal, director, every role you could imagine, all the way up to superintendent of schools. And now I'm the proud assistant superintendent here at Ypsilanti Community School, where we could impact the life of our young people. It's about an opportunity to really transform. My life has been about service. It's been a service because that's how I was introduced by my big brother. I always wonder, why am I so drawn to cognitive coaching and how my life, I have coaches right now, like the gentleman said. I have a coach that's 15 who helps me with technology, like you can imagine, to a coach that's 89 years old. My life is surrounded by people who are able to help each other and build that. But that started from that first impact when the big brother came into my life. He was just not someone who was just there, but he was a transformative person who actually didn't realize at the time the impact that he had and would have in my life and the life of others. So I just think at one point in your life, you're in the point of receiving the service, but then it's at the point of giving it back. And I think what we could give back once your life is transformed is greater. And so I think my heart goes to all the people who step up and become a big brother, big sister, because you are, and it's generational. The work that you do is generational and transformational. So thank you for listening to my story.
Thank you so much for sharing. It's good to see you this morning. I haven't seen you in person in 2 years. We should do it in person soon.
Yes.
I appreciate that. You have been an inspiration to me. I enjoy every conversation that we have, and we've had many, and we can go down rabbit holes because we get talking about kids. We get talking about what they need and how we can support them and just how amazing they are. And
Jen, the one thing that I do love, the generosity in this community is amazing. I've been in Oakland County, Wayne County, but Washtenaw County, it blows it out the water. And I like to say to you, the other piece is the whole perspective, the children here, the families, the staff, the general community is so resilient. And I think with that resilience, you could conquer the world.
There's so much love. There is so much love, right? I think, resiliency and love. It is a community. So thank you for sharing this morning. It was really great to see you. And I will talk with you soon.
Take care. Be safe.
Thank you. You too. Well, that was just amazing. I am going to welcome to my screen because I'm going to move my face away. And I am going to give you just this amazing, other face that doesn't look like me. So when you see Jennifer Spitler at the bottom of the screen, don't freak out. But Doug Cass is a longtime supporter. He is a former board member. He is a golfer, so he'll be on the course later today. And he is going to just share a few words with you, and then I'll be back to wrap us up.
Thanks, Jen. In fact, I don't look like you. There you go.
Hey.
Guys, it's really nice to meet you. Good morning, and thank you all for participating in this really amazing event. I just become inspired every time I get connected to this program. And Mr. Jackson, Mike Hart, Dr. Lopez, the Bigs, everybody, thank you for sharing all these stories because they're an inspiration. I'm Doug Cass, as Jen mentioned. I'm a local business person in the Ann Arbor community. I've had the pleasure of being a part of Big Brothers Big Sisters now for nearly 20 years. And along the way, I've had this luck of building 2 businesses here in this incredible community. Honored also to serve on the board and been very fortunate to interact with some amazing people connected to this organization. This organization draws from the community's best. The people like Chris Kearns at Comerica, who's done a great job continuing to sponsor this program, Jake Hayes, Jim Bucci, Ann Cooper, Nancy Collada, Doug Zemmer, just to name a couple of people that I've had the good fortune to be connected to. These people have given their time, their energy, their perspectives, and have been active participants in this organization for many years. And it takes a village. And because I think they see what I see. And what I see is an organization that serves the community and the kids in need in our community. I'm also very proud to also call these folks now my associates and my friends. Lastly, I would like to comment that for the last 20 years, this organization has been led by one of, I think, the greatest leader and most passionate person I've known, and that's Jen Spitler. She's done an amazing job over the course of nearly 20 years. We need to have an anniversary party or something at some point. Everyone, just take one last second here to think of the mentors in your life. Maybe it was a teacher, perhaps a coach, or if you're fortunate like I was, a parent that was there for you when you needed coaching and you needed someone that could listen to you and help you. some kids, they don't have that rock, the person giving the advice, or just to listen to them. For those kids, Big Brothers Big Sisters, as an organization for 100 years, has been making matches like the ones you've heard about today. None of this could have happened had it not been for generous people like yourself, giving your time, and also giving to this organization so they can continue to provide outstanding service to our community. I can without hesitation tell you that every dime and every minute you pledge to this organization will go to the kids in need. I finally just want to close quickly, and I want to kind of get the party started as far as giving. This last year, my father passed, Harry Cass. My father was my mentor. He was my rock, my soul. He gave me so much incredible advice. He was here 92 years on this earth, 7 children, 14 grandchildren. He passed last June, and in his honor, I'm going to make a donation today. I'm going to start the party as far as the donations, and I'm going to commit $10,000 immediately, and also $10,000 each of the next 2 years, so a total of $30,000 to the organization, because I know that's what he'd want me to do, and I know the money's going to go to a tremendous cause and help kids in this community. So I challenge you to consider giving to this organization. Again, it will be well spent and will go right to the kids. And I thank you for listening. Thanks.
Aw, Doug. You know, as Doug shares his story about his mentor, he knows how much my mom meant to me as well. And I lost my mom just before you, 2020.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And, you know, she really was my inspiration for doing this work, and being a giver in our community. I miss her on days like these because she used to come to every one of our fundraisers, and Doug always, every time we have a fundraiser or every time we have a golf event, he says, gosh, I just see your mom flipping hot dogs, because that's what my mom did at our fundraisers, but she came to everyone and supported. So, I want to thank everybody who served as panelists today, and sharing your stories, Mr. Jackson, Coach Hart, Dr. Lopez, and my friend, Doug Cass. It's always amazing when you get to take the folks that have inspired you and call them friends. I am really grateful that over 20 years, I've been able to do that with so many people in our community. We couldn't do what we do without the Big Brothers Big Sisters staff. Y'all, the last 2 years have been really challenging for everyone, and we're still trying to make our way through it, right? Our staff have been there for our kids and our families, delivering meals, delivering laptops, helping them get the support that they needed during this really, really trying time. And we couldn't do this work, obviously, without having that staff. I'm just the face. I just get to be the face that y'all see and the voice that y'all hear. But it really is the team that lifts up our work in the community. And on days like this, I would be remiss not to thank Danny and Anne Marie, who are our tech and graphic and event planners to make days like this really magical and make them happen. Chris, Comerica, thank you again for just always being there. I thank you all for joining us virtually to learn about our work and the impact and hear these amazing stories. If there's one thing that you take away from today, I really want it to be that quote. And so I am going to again share with you, kids don't care what you think until they think that you care. We need more of our community to show up for young people and to step into their lives, give them the support that they deserve, and just walk the path with them. It's so very important. It really does take a village. And I thank you all for being a part of ours today. And I hope that you all have a great day. Danny is gonna wind us down here by sharing her screen with just the scan codes. Obviously, we've got the QR codes on the screen where you can give, and you can sign up to be a big, and it'll take you to our page where you can attend an orientation and learn more. Please don't walk away without thinking about who might be a good big and who else we could share the impact of mentoring with and the stories with in our community. So look at that, right on the dot. It's 8:59. Thank you so much. You all have a great day. Enjoy the sunshine, and we'll see you again soon.